Yeah, I'd start with congratulations to Myles Garrett for being our nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year. Obviously, well deserved. The work he does in the community, particularly with the Water Boys initiative, is outstanding. So, congratulations to Myles. On the injury front, we won't have Cordero or Denzel out there again today. No real update other than they're both progressing and they remain day to day. Just speaking of the Ravens, very, very good football team. The tape doesn't lie. So you put the tape on, you see a really complete team. On offense, a huge challenge with what they do. They have multiple playmakers, and the quarterback is playing at a very high level. I think they're the number one rushing offense. On defense, I think the number three defense in terms of points. They do everything, and they do it really well. Good up front, good in the back end, fast linebackers, really good scheme. And on special teams, I believe they're the number one kickoff return unit. So among their special teams, which is sound as you would expect. So a really big challenge for us. Again, why we feel it's so important that we have a great week of preparation. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Coach. The first one will go to Tom Withers.
Thank you, Rob. Hey, Coach. I know it was 3 months ago, but when you look at that tape from week one, I know the turnovers probably stand out, but what else has to be cleaned up and has to improve for you guys on Monday, Kevin?
Yeah, I think turnovers is a great place to start, really. We're +7. It's very obvious the correlation to winning and losing in that turnover margin. And it's a great stat because it's a team stat. It doesn't speak to one person, one position, one side of the ball. So that's definitely a place to start, Tom. And I think we just have to look at the tape and see how we've changed, see how they've changed, understand that there's going to be some different wrinkles that they show us and really that we show them.
In terms of Lamar, there really is no one quite like him. How difficult does that make it to scheme for him, Kevin, just because he's liable to do just about anything?
Yeah, it's a great challenge for our players. It's a great challenge for the coaches. They do run a unique scheme, not something that you see every week. So you got to put together a really strong plan that the guys can understand and go execute. But there's no mystery with Lamar Jackson. He's an extremely talented player.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next is Daryl Ryder.
Hey, Coach, got two of them for you. First off, could you talk about Myles Garrett and him winning Walter Payton Man of the Year and not allowing, I know you weren't here, but not allowing what happened last year to define him?
Yeah, I think Myles, from the moment I've been with him, has been a team player all the way. Obviously, you know what type of player he is, and obviously a very high caliber player. Does a great job opening things up for the rest of the defense. But off the field, I think he's very conscientious. I think he wants to make an impact in this community and really around the country, around the world. And I think he's done an exemplary job of that.
And then after Sunday's game, Baker had mentioned how fans need to reset their expectations. And the reason they need to do that is because the standard in Cleveland has changed. You as the head coach obviously set that standard. Could you just kind of put into your words what that standard for the Browns is?
Well, I think our focus remains week to week. So I don't know if there's some football coach cliche I can give you to speak to that, other than we got a big challenge this week, and just came down from my office trying to find some plays that work versus this defense. So it's not easy, and we understand the work that is cut out for us.
Thank you, Daryl. Jeff Shadell, you have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, can you speak on the depth of your team? You missed Nick Chubb for a few games, Myles a couple, Denzel now, Odell, and yet you guys still keep winning. So you have a pretty good bench play.
Yeah, Jeff, I think, you give credit to Andrew Berry and the personnel staff in putting together a deep roster. I think the coaches work very hard to develop all of the players in their room. And as we've seen over the course of the season, we've had to play multiple players at all these positions. So I think all of that experience all of that work leading up to the games is what allows these guys to go play at a high level when they're filling in for someone. So injuries are a part of this game. We know that. And we really just spend our time worrying about getting the next guy ready to go for the next game.
Thank you, Jeff. Scott Petrick, we'll go to you.
Hey, Kevin. Obviously, Baker and the offense are coming off a really good game. Do you think you still have to prove you can do what you did against a kind of an elite defense like the Ravens have?
I don't look at it that way, Scott. I look at it, we need to go score more points than they do. So we're not in that business of proving people wrong, right, or anything. We're just trying to be efficient in what we do. So specifically to the offense, got to make sure that we're on point this week because it's a big challenge.
And when you look at that Ravens defense, yardage wise, they're kind of middle of the pack, but points wise, I think they're number 3. So what makes them so effective keeping, teams out of the end zone?
Yeah, they do a nice job in the red zone. Obviously, if you're holding people to the points that they are. I just think that they're multiple in their approach and what they do, Scott, but they do it well. This is a defense that plays a lot of different coverages, multiple fronts, but they do them all well.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. We'll go to Tony Grossi next.
All right, Kevin, it's pretty remarkable that this time a year ago, Myles was serving a 6-game suspension, and now he's the deserved Man of the Year nominee. I know you don't want to go into details, but your first conversations with him, was the subject of how do you rehab your image from here broached? Did you have a plan, or did he present you a plan?
Well, I don't think it was as in-depth a conversation as presenting plans to each other, Tony. I think it was more we needed to get to know each other, and he needed to understand what I was about. I needed to understand what he was about, and I understand what he went through last off season. I get all that, but for me, it was really moving forward and how he could be a great teammate, and he's made sure he's done that every step along the way.
What do you think the biggest thing that he's done to reclaim his image in the league? I mean, was it on the field or off the field?
Yeah, I don't know. I think on the field, you see the type of player he is. He's been making game-changing plays for us all season. That's no secret. And then off the field, I mean, I think he does a really, really nice job making an impact in the communities. We've had many discussions over the months with Myles and the entire social justice committee in terms of what they can do to help. The work he did in going to Tanzania was a very big deal. So I just think he works really hard off the field to make sure he's having a positive impact on our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Mary Kay Cabot, you're up.
Yeah, Coach, just wondering, Baker, when you look at the numbers, hasn't fared that well against pressure. His kept clean numbers are amazing. His versus pressure numbers aren't that great. So my question is, do you think that you guys just as a team, as an offense, are better equipped this time around to handle a defense that's going to bring the pressure and one that can get its hands on some footballs?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge this week versus a team that does bring a lot of pressure, bring all out cover zero. They're making the ball get out of the quarterback's hand based on what they do. So we got to be smart about how we design the offense and where we put people to combat that. But that does speak to the challenge that you have this week because it is a team that really pressures the quarterback in a variety of different ways. So I think mentality-wise for us as an offense, anytime a team pressures, is you hope to make a big play. That's really got to be your mentality.
And has Yannick been a nice addition to their team in that regard?
Absolutely. You got a good player to the front, somebody that can really rush the passer. He's athletic, can make plays in the run game, so that definitely helps their front.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Nate Ulrich, you're up next.
Hey, Kevin, do you have any hope that Denzel can play in this coming game, or is that like a long shot at this point?
I wouldn't call it a long shot. I think gonna see what he can do today with the guys off to the side, see what he can do tomorrow. So yeah, I'm hopeful, but I can't peg it with a percentage.
Okay, and then Wyatt Teller, is he still on track to make it back?
Yes.
Do you have a scheduled day he would be able to? Like, is there a day like, hey, if everything keeps going well, he's going to be able to return by whatever?
It's later in the week, but I want to make sure we just follow the protocols there. But I don't know the exact day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Fred Greetham has our next question.
Yeah, Coach, you've seen Tedrick Thompson a couple of days, maybe. Do you think it's realistically that he can, help you in the secondary, starting this week?
Yeah, Fred, I do think it's realistic. Smart player, has played in similar systems, so we'll see how the week plays out. But he's been spending a lot of time with Jeff Howard and the defensive coaches on Zoom, and then it was great to finally meet him in person and get him out on the practice field yesterday.
Thank you, Fred. Back to Scott Petrik.
Kevin, the Titans had a big time running game, and now the Ravens do. How different are those two run schemes? I think it's probably significant given the Lamar factor.
Yeah, I'd say it is significantly different. They're both outstanding. This adds the quarterback run element to what they're doing. A few more gap schemes, I'd say, but they do it all. They have multiple schemes. They'll pull people, they'll play zone, they'll run, read things with the quarterback, they'll motion. So it's a challenge in its own right.
And, when Lamar, either when he's running in a design play or he's scrambling to keep a play alive, is there something that impresses you the most about how he's able to either avoid guys or run away from guys?
He's hard to get on the ground. Bottom line, he's a great player, outstanding with the ball in his hands, and then he can, beat you with his arm or his legs. So it's a challenge, and it's a challenge that all 11 guys on defense have to be about their business.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Daryl Ryder, you're up.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Lamar too. Last year, the Browns did a real nice job in that September game, kind of containing him, I guess, as best as you can contain him. First, do you go back and look at that? And then is there a formula for containing him? I'm not asking you to give away a game plan, but is there, a pattern or something that you've discovered that you can limit his productivity?
Well, didn't go back and watch that game. There's so much football between now and then, Daryl. Of course, you're trying to limit Lamar Jackson. He's the reigning MVP. He's a great player. It's not one scheme's not going to take him away. One player's not going to take him away. You just have to play really, really sound defense, and then you need 11 guys around the ball.